G'day, we're in front of I'm Execute, joined today by Badges, the Astropub, and Old Man Hurston himself, Algared. How is everyone doing? We don't do 4 very often anymore. I had to pull out this out and dust it off. It was a bit weird. So yeah.
Well, listen, it's Aegis Day. It's a very important day. It's the biggest day of Invictus next to Anvil Day. So
yeah, I'm glad.
Only because Aegis have all the ships.
Yeah, that's the reason why it's so important.
So we've got the proper gentleman down the top and the hobos up the top, so it's all good. Representing from all sides of the corners of the globe. Yes, you are now a hobo with me, Badges. You have joined the club. You have joined the dark side. There is nothing you do about it. You are just you're in it now with me. You can't
start wearing a suit. You'll be fine.
He's finally got the memo that if you're a Star Citizen content creator, you have to have a beard. So now we just got to make sure that Aurelia and Buster and they got to grow their beards out so they can so we can all be.
Buy Aurelia a big French one, you know, with a
big French one. Yeah.
I'm loving it because now I'm finally not getting ID'd when I buy alcohol at the supermarket. So, yeah, good.
Yep.
Very good. All right, let's kick it over to the browser because we've got a fair bit to go through today because it is.
It is.
Whoa, that was a bit of lag. All right, Aegis Day. My favorite ship, one of my favorite military ships, the Redeemer. I know Paul is not a big fan, though it is technically his favorite ship. It says so in his hangar, so it's got to be true, right?
Yep.
CIG apparently has declared it, so.
So I think. Our opinions aside, as lay people, I think I'm going to refer to Badges a lot today because you're a military person. Badges, honestly, break the tie between me and Paul. Where does the Redeemer honestly sit? And don't fuck with me. Just be totally honest, because I can see it on your face from a mile away, right? And it's like, yes, it's like get in the game still time, man. It's all coming back.
This one's getting a run up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Redeemer is exceptionally capable. Almost too much in that I'm still kind of a little bit thinking that this thing's going to get nerfed somewhat because it's just so powerful as both a gunship, as a land, as a troop ship, all those things. And then you add in the vaunted kind of modularity. I think it's likely to get a bit of a kick in the nuts at some point, but remains to be seen.
I'll throw this back at you. I think it's armor. It's heavily shielded, but there's no armor.
Could be.
Yeah, so I think that's where it is. It's got revolutionary shields that recharge quicker and stuff like that, and it's got mobility. Again, when you tend to get something mobility, well, look at the Fury that just came out. When you get something with highly mobile, it's got next to no armor, you know? So and this thing's got next to no armor, so yeah. I don't know. We'll see it when it comes around. Is there anything you guys, I know Algared hasn't said anything, but we're not all going to be able to say anything. Algared, good or bad? Real quick. Good, cool. All right. We'll go to the next one. Algared, Retaliator Bomber. Sell us on the Retaliator Bomber, Old Man Hurston. What Ugu Wheel girl do you fire out of the torpedo this week?
I've got to stop salivating.
Yeah, okay.
Retaliator Bomber is an absolute gem. It's based on, it's kind of a mix of submarine and, World War II bomber. It's got the all-round turret defense. That's probably its biggest weakness, along with, in its current format, the choke point you get with the one access point to the escape pods at the top. But as a ship, it's a great ship. It's going for a rework. Everything we've seen on the rework seems to say it's pretty fancy. It's losing. The current model has the EVA access down the bottom and the top, and I think they're getting rid of that, and it's going on the side from what we've seen so far. But yeah.
Just real quick, show of hands. Price going up after rework? Show of hands? Yeah.
I'd go there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's because it's modularity. Because of its modularity, they can increase the base price and then charge people for the lower prices for the modules.
But we've already sold the modules, so unless they bring modules.
But I mean, like in game as well. Like I think this is one of those rare cases where it's going to get into price increase with actual cash and in game. It'll go up because of the modules.
Show of hands. Crew count going down because it's currently 5, which I think is high, and obviously, and I got one more question after this as well. So show of hands, and then turrets changing because they're currently 5 size 2s, and I think that's if you think the crew one, you've definitely got to think the turret one.
They'll go up in size, and they're also going to get more remote. Is what they'll do.
Agreed.
They'll become the automatic or remote.
Yeah,
that's what will happen.
And Algared, I'll refer to you on this because I know you talk about this quite a bit. Do you still think that we're going to get bombing variant of this, because they did talk about this way back when, or do you think they're going to more likely now build a whole new ship because the game's expanded? What's your take on that?
The bombing variant. In the same way that another ship that's going to come today need the bomber variant, and that's the Gladiator. But both of those are traditional bombers in the sense, as well as torpedo bombers. I think they should stick with the law. Yeah,
we'll see what happens, but they do have now they've got bigger and uglier. They seem to be splitting them, don't they? So yeah, but yeah, good ship. Base variant's only $150, which I think just boggles my mind, because you can get 2 of those for 1 Eclipse that we'll talk about when we get to the Eclipse.
That also tells you that the bomber pod is 125.
Real quick, military boy, close. Right down the end. Any really good military any good military things you can say about this? Is it like strategic bomber? Is it, or is this not the bomber, the torpedo bomber to get?
This kind of shows you like how mistreated you get in the military. Like, this to me is the closest to the core of military design. They basically said, let's take 6 torpedoes and then build a ship around them. And you can see that from everything. There's accommodation everywhere. The toilets are like 3.5 miles from the accommodation. It's like, for a shower, you've got people running around trying to gun down things, and then you got Matey Boy in his towel. Sorry. So, it is that. But yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that would change this for me and make it a must-have in every fleet is I really want the walkway to go down the ship to literally be the middle of the torpedo bay. So on your attack run, you're just watching, waddling between the torpedoes as they drop out, and yeah,
I could just see hilarious badges in a town now running from the shower back between the torpedoes as they're dropping, going, "Oh fuck, oh fuck."
Don't be silly. I don't use a towel.
Yeah. If your walkway was literally going between the torpedoes, it'd give that World War II submarine feel, wouldn't it? It's kind of that getting ramped and
right. Paul, the Saber.
Setup, but
the Saber, Paul.
They murdered my boy. Look what they did to my boy. They murdered my boy. It's a good ship, but oh man, it's the problem with every medium fighter right now. They're just oh god. And it's always got the fighter problem. You don't really need one. You only need one. The Saber is good for what it's supposed to do, which is a stealth-ish fighter. And as the game progresses, we've even seen some glimpses of it where, when they had more heavy cross-section, like radar stuff, kind of coming in, I guess LiDAR technically, but when this thing would just show up 500 meters away from you. And you were just like, oh, and then it would get like 600 meters and then just disappear from your scopes. So you just couldn't see it. And and that's like the whole thing. This is designed to jump you and kill you. You're supposed to ambush with this, come in, ambush, hit, run away, and then come back and do over and over again.
But right now, it's just, back in the day, they used to say if the Hornet is a brawler, because this was the first kind of fighter that came along after the Hornet, and they said this is a ninja. So I think this is the closest to stealth we're going to get. So this is a ship that I expect to see with stealth components on it eventually. But
this is the Star Citizen's versions of the F-22 Raptor. That's what this is. This is the F-22 Raptor. If you like the F-22 Raptor, this is probably the closest we're going to get to it.
Badges, real quick question: stealth is stealth. With the low signatures and that, do you see that more detailed coming in and actually finding a niche down the road? Is that going to be a thing?
Yeah. I've got to agree. Even before Paul started nodding, the stealth system works nothing like it should, and at the moment there's just nothing to it. There's nothing to that system other than arbitrary detection ranges they put in the game at the moment. Stealth is a mix of a whole different bunch of things: the construction of the vessel, how much power you're putting through, how much heat you're generating, what you're doing with your systems, whether you're transmitting, trying to find stuff, or whether you're just running stuff. There's a lot more to come on that thing.
So Algared, the Saber comment, do you think it's worth the extra dosh, extra money?
It's just a beautiful skin, mate, and a different loadout from one of the heroes of flight, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. No. I don't think it's really worth it personally, myself. But,
no, I think most of the upgrades in terms of loadout you can actually put on by buying them in game. I don't think
Mhm.
I don't think it's got any specific loadout different that you can't get.
Yeah, that's it. It's kind of
From
this
in-game.
camo blue skin is really. I do know you get some extra guns, but I think that I could be wrong. I remember them being scatter guns, but I could be. I think they don't look like scatter guns, so I think I'm actually.
No, I think they're
But
neutron
I
guns.
don't think it's got
Neutrons. There we
different
go.
hard,
Yeah.
doesn't have extra hard points. I don't think so.
No.
Yeah. If it gave
It's
extra
just-
hard points,
you-
that'd be a different kettle of fish. But
Yeah.
yeah. All right,
The
moving
same
on.
hard points, just different guns. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna start putting a couple of these together. And if there's anything you want to say specifically and bespoke, because these are all the Vanguards, obviously. So if there's anyone you want to talk to specifically, just tell me and I'll kind of flick it over. But as the Vanguard series as a whole, I still think, this is me personally, the Sentinel is the real standout one for me personally. With the E-Warfare, all the others for me have really dropped off because of the nose gun. I think I'll kind of go to the military guy on this one. Is this a drawback, the nose gun, or am I being pedantic? And then I'll let everyone else have a speak on it because there's 4 of them in one go. So, Badgers, your thoughts on the Vanguard series, please, as a whole, 4 of them.
I didn't think so, and then I started flying them, and they are a handicap, whether you like it or not. They're not the easiest things to get on target all of the time, so that's a bit of a thing, especially when you've got something as chunky as this. Agree with the Sentinel, and the only other thing I'll say is that the hoplite needs a little bit of help to find its place in the plethora of dropships that we have now.
I think that's why they made the Valkyrie, because it wasn't working. All right, who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Yeah.
The Harbinger is one of those things where CIG desperately needs to fix size 5 torpedoes. They need to fix the torpedo, those torpedoes, to make them more deadly, because they need to kind of add some variation as to why you would run a size 5 torpedo when you can run a size 9 or size 10, which are just better.
This variant is a more expensive Gladiator that just happens to kind of go further. That's the only real difference between the two, and it's kind of weird.
And the Gladiator is not exactly in a good position. So that's the kind of the big problem. So one of those things with the Harbinger is I would stay away from it, but I'd almost guarantee you that in the next 2 years, the Harbinger is going to get a massive glow up because they're going to figure out what they want to do with torpedoes. Like say size 5 and size 9 are the same yield, but size 5 are faster and size 9 is slower, but size 5 will doesn't penetrate shields or something like that. They'll make them differentiated in a way that makes it so that size 5 are valuable for specific targets. Right now, it's just, if you're hitting a smaller target, you don't need these size 5.
So what I'm hearing is kind of like the description between where you went to 1 to size 4 guns and then size 5 and up changed. So it kind of like became capital and fighter. Is that kind of what you got? Something similar for that?
I think we're going to see something like that with the differentiation in the future, just because they have to make size 5s valuable and give them a place. Because right now their place is, why would you take size 5s when you can get a size 9 so easily? So,
right, old man Hurston, school these youngins. What's your take on the Warden? Vanguard, sorry.
The thing with the Warden is it hasn't reached its sweet spot yet. It is a fighter that's made specifically for long range. It's got redundancy upon redundancy. You've got components, boxes, areas for components, all over the ship. I watched a stream the other day, and someone was saying, "Look what I found! A secret compartment." No, it's just a component compartment, and it was underneath the stairs. And people were saying, "Oh, I've had this ship for 2 years, and I've never seen it." It's just, could you not know? It's just a component storage, But it's got places for components all over the place. It's basically a heavy fighter that can go long distance, take a beating, and come home. That's the idea of it. But what I do like about the Sentinel, not the Sentinel, the Hoplite, is the fact that because it's an older ship, it actually fits as being the dropship for the Javelin, as opposed to the Redeemer, which was a brand new ship. So that's one thing I do like. But as Badger said, it does need a bit of love because it doesn't really meet the requirements that other dropships have. So,
right, I'm going to cut straight.
It's better than a Steel. I'll give it that much.
That's not hard. Right, the Vulcan.
No.
I think the person that really convinced me of this was Badgers, so I'm going to let Badgers sell it because I think he does it better than most. So go for it.
I defer to Paul. Paul, do you look like you want to say something, mate?
I'm hurt because I'm the one who's been the Vulcan apologist for the longest time, and I was told I was wrong, but that the Vulcan was a good ship for the longest time.
I just ignore you, Paul. That's how it works. No.
I'm glad that Badgers and I are in agreement. You need something like this for fighter squadrons, and this is group play. Don't get this for solo play. You need this for group play.
We argued with you that it was a good ship, though, Paul. We just argued that we didn't think it was. We argued that it was a starter ship for repair.
Yeah,
that's
what
no, it's an advanced. It's an advanced. It's more
Paul,
advanced.
So long story short, Paul thinks there's a smaller repair ship than this coming, and we were like, maybe not. So that's where it was. But what actually convinced me that this was specifically a much better ship was when Badgers was talking about it, like repairing, like landing behind a sand dune and sending the drone in, so like you're out of danger, and the Crucible's just too big to bring that kind of down to planet. And I kind of went, oh yeah. That's a really good idea. And I just not seen it the same. It always takes someone's different perspective to change your perspective. And Badgers did that for me.
It's a logistical support ship. That's what it is. You pair this with like a freelancer or a couple of other vehicles which can keep all of the munitions, and then it can just transfer to the Vulcan. And you in a FOB, in a forward operating base, or in like a small like a rendezvous spot, and you can keep a fighter squadron equipped and staying in the fight for much longer. And so it's designed to extend your engagement range, which is great.
I don't think this can land on a Crucible, but if you could land this on a Crucible and then kind of like re-grab some ammo off the Crucible, man, that would work well together. But I don't think they do. I'd have to...
Liberator.
Don't get Badgers started on that. We'll never stop.
Or a whole C, a whole variant. You can just park a whole C next to it. You can start. You can tractor beam off.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, true.
I have a feeling now that the Fury's a thing. I'm going to have to eat my words about the Liberator. But yeah, Vulcan's one of my stop-offs on my CCU chain to Reclaimer, and I'm genuinely considering making it my stop-off.
I think I
love it.
I think the big hold-up is drones on this one. So once drones working, hopefully they're not too far away. There's a lot of things behind drones. I think we'll see more drone ships once drones come in, because we know CIG is making a push at the moment for to flight rather than to concept. So we'll see what happens there. All right. Probably I'm going to say, like, for the longest time, I'm going to put that in front of what I'm about to say. For the longest time, this is the best starter ship in the game, and I still think it's way up there. I still don't think it's the worst. I think the only reason the Carter kind of snuck in is because of the war bond price of it last year. But I think now that the price has gone up on the Cutter, this has kind of reclaimed the throne, in my opinion. I think the other one that we've got to watch out for is the one you brought to my attention, Paul, which was the 315p. But still, this is way up there. Me and Algared ran about it quite a lot. So Algared, I don't know about you, but I'm going to let them talk about it. As you and I, everyone who watches the channel has heard me and you to death on this one. So
I think you meant a Titan rather than Stalker.
Yeah, that's the next one along. All right, sorry. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Right, Mr. Fancy Pants. There you go. Yeah, right.
The Titan is good, the Stalker is good, and the Warlock is good. They're all good. There's like nothing wrong about those ships. There are ships that are better than that. Than all of them. The only one that's not worthwhile is the Renegade. That skin is sweet. The skin is very sweet.
Again, if you want a skin like this skin, you can get... We'll actually look at them at the end of this, but there are Invictus-specific skins.
Invictus skins.
Which look very similar. So.
But in general, it's that whole range is great. It's great for starting players. It's great to start out. The price range is perfect. It's almost everyone's stop off at some point. Even if you have a smaller ship, like say you start with like an Aurora or a Mustang, I almost always go with an Avenger. Shortly after that, if I'm going to be like if I'm doing a 0 to hero run, it's just you cannot get away from the fact that this thing is good in combat, has cargo, has a bed, and has a pressurized interior. Yep. So you can like
walk around in it and
completely swap out your suits and everything. It even has a mini airlock in there between the bed and the cargo bay. So it's like. It's an amazing ship for what you get, what you pay for. It's probably in my opinion, everyone, everyone's like, oh, the Hornet or the Javelin or the Idris or the Bengal. These are all like the icons of Star Citizen. I'm like, everyone knows an Avenger. Everyone knows the Avenger. Once you've gotten to the Star Citizen, everyone likes the Avenger. So
Badges. So I just want to point this out to you because you weren't here for the Fury Day. How do you feel when I point out to you that that ship right there, the Avenger Titan, is the same price as the Fury?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And
Yeah.
and to chuck more in, has a size 3 gun and 2 size 2s and
Yeah.
well,
Actually,
I mean,
actually, I
think-
Algared, I have to actually correct you. It's a fixed size 4 and 2 size 3s.
oh sorry,
You were talking about gimbals,
yeah.
but you were right. It does come with gimbals, but you should technically go for the fixed sizes. So it's fixed size 4 and 2 size 3s, and that just totally floors the Fury at 4 size 2s. So, and it has everything we said before: the cargo, the bed, and all that shit, and a quantum drive. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing I'm trying to get at with my yeah is that there's clearly two classes of ships that you buy in Star Citizen. There's the ones that kind of, although not really, make sense to people who are not used to the economy of buying ships, and then you've got the ones for the absolute wackos, like the alien tax and the why on earth would you spend $400 on a prowler, sort of that area. And for me, this is in the first category, the vaguely sensible category, and then you've got people buying the Furies. Lots of fun.
Is it
but as far as
the
everything
TIE
else holds up, not this.
Is it the TIE Fighter
Yeah.
tax? Is that what it is? I think it's the TIE Fighter tax, but personally on the Fury, but we'll see.
The Fury.
Yeah. All right. We've lingered too long. We must move on. The Eclipse. So as we were saying, there's a base variant of the Retaliator for $150. Why the hell would you buy this when you can get two of them? Other than the solo ability of this ship, I can't justify its price.
I can.
Yeah, please do.
Do you like meta ships? Do you want to be able to destroy your enemies before they can even see you? Do you want to troll the hell out of people with bigger ships? Then the Eclipse, because it's almost always bounced in and out of the meta as being a troll ship. So if you want to pay $300 to ruin other people's games, yeah, get the Eclipse. But it's not worth the actual money in any way, shape, or form if you're just trying to play the game.
Algared, he's been hanging out with Diabolus too much. That's what that is. I've heard that speech before. Yeah. Hey, Diabolus, how you doing?
I do think it is a great ship. It's a great ship to have. It's not a great ship to buy.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a great ship to fly, pop up on. Even if you're doing bounty missions, you can knock. It's a bit like using a reclaimer, Retaliator. But this thing, you've at least got some pew guns. But you go in, you fire your missile, you fly out. If you get into pew, you're doing it wrong.
All right, military man, school us all. Why would we want this over Retaliator?
I've grown. I've gone from military boy to military man.
Well, it alliterates. Sorry, MM.
So there's two sides to this ship. I think the first one is that it only makes sense really in the verse if it's your money loser. So you're going to be making your credits with other ships, and then this is going to be spending them for you. And then some. The reason being is the amount of damage you can do for the size, and as we've already said, it's only one person. It doesn't make sense to also make money, otherwise why would you fly anything else?
I will say this, in game right now, you can actually do really well with this on like the HRTs and stuff, because you can just go in, target the main ship, fire a torpedo, and leave. Like, it's that good. Yep. So it is a moneymaker right now, but I totally agree with you in final release.
Yeah, and it's this ship that really sells me on the idea if they're going to work more towards radar cross-section, because first of all, from the front, it presents almost no profile whatsoever, which means it's going to be right on top of you before you see it.
You need to go,
unless you've got...
You need to go look at the Retaliator then, because the Retaliator is like that too. Like, it's this huge ass ship, but from the front, it looks like a saber.
Yeah. Exactly that. Yeah. In terms of, and this compared to the Retaliator in terms of cross-section is less. And that's why they've cut out sections of the wings, because there's nothing for radar to bounce back off if there's nothing there. So, even from the top, they're trying to, as much as they can, reduce the cross-section of this thing. So, my thoughts on this: fly it full speed at something, dumbfire your torpedoes, get the hell out of there. Because you can dumbfire at point blank range.
That's why we have him here. He's not just a pretty face. He actually knows what he's talking about. See?
Not just a pretty beard with a face attached.
Yeah. All right. Gladius. Oh, Gladius. I've gone one too far. Valiant is just a skin. $20 more
Yep.
for a skin is insane.
Nope.
Do not
Nope.
buy that.
Yeah.
Gladius, I think we'd all kind of agree, if we want to make this quick, the kind of test ship for the entire game, the Squadron 42.
It's the hero ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want that ship,
Carl Mason learned to fly on this.
Sorry, say again.
Carl Mason learned to fly on this.
Okay, yeah, right.
Yes.
And I don't know who that is. Anyway,
He's my hero.
right, yeah. Yeah, so it's just a really polished ship. It seems to get a lot of things going before everything else because it's the one they're working on the most, really. And it's a test bed for armor. It's the test bed for the storage that's been rolled out, components, all that things. It all seemed to get it first. It's like the little darling. So if you want a good all rounder, that's kind of. I find this a very mid range ship. I don't know if you guys agree, but anyone want to speak on it, or should we just move on? All right, we're moving on. Cool.
I was gonna say it's the meta. It's the current meta ship, so
cool.
It's good.
The Hammerhead. Now, try to sell me on this, Eminem. How do I? Why is this very good? Military man, Eminem. Sorry, I'm just changing as we go along. Right.
If I could rap, I would have started then. So, I've been working on the show and not there yet. Watch the space. Look, the Hammerhead suffered when they nerfed all the gun ranges and they made all the gun ranges the same, and that was really the downfall of it so far. It makes so much sense as an anti-fighter big ship. The execution isn't there yet. Since they've changed it over, but especially once we're able to take ammunition inside the ship and then recharge hard rounds or do whatever, these things are going to be deadly. They just might not be there quite yet. They need a bit of help. Armor's going to change the way we operate these.
I don't know about Algared and Paul. I just got vision of badgers running around without a tower trying to deliver ammo. Okay, right, moving on. From his comment.
No, you're safe on that one because it doesn't have.
Doesn't have a shower? Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it does.
Okay.
A whole bathroom.
It's been a while since I've been in there.
Yeah,
no,
right.
it doesn't.
It's strategically placed 40mm.
All right. How many of these have you lost, Algared? The Idris P and the Idris. I guess
I've lost none of them.
You lost none?
Never lost
Idris? All right, cool. So, what is the talking point on this? Like, why would someone want this over another capital ship, Algared? What's its strength to you?
For me, it was always Star Trekking. So it was my Enterprise. That's why I originally wanted one. It was you could go out long-term exploration. This was before the Carrack was out even. You've got plenty of NPCs. You've got plenty of crew. The NPCs would be like your lives for your crew as you're doing stuff. So it just had that element to it. It was basically a small carrier as well because you had 3 ships. You had a support craft. So yeah, it was a good ship.
All right, Paul. What about you?
Do you have money?
Do you want to burn said money? Right. Yeah.
Yes, basically. I mean, like, there's no real reason. I don't even know what when you're getting into the capital ship range, there's really not that much difference between them. You're dealing with the Idris P compared to, say, the Kraken. The Kraken is a flying space station, and the Idris P is a warship.
It's kind of more combat-y than the Kraken is where I'd kind of lead. If you're kind of just trying to decide between the Kraken and this, and you're a combat person, this is for you. If you're more industry economical, then you lean more towards the privateer.
But the thing to keep in mind is that all of these ships are going to require a lot of in-game money to maintain and keep alive. These are money holes. You're throwing money into a pit to try to run these things.
And I think you need friends too.
Yeah.
You'll need friends. I actually think like an Idris, if it's doing missions that are meant for the Idris, will actually cover its bills. But if you're trying to do box missions on an Idris, you're an idiot.
I think much like the Gladius as well, because this is in Squadron 42, it's probably going to be a lot more polished than some of the others. Badges, I refer to you and your combat experience. What would you say is the what's the selling point of this ship for people that
the Idris is a true frigate, which is a multi-role, able to do a lot of different things. May not be the best at doing them, but it's one of those. It's a Swiss Army knife. You can put it into a lot of situations. There aren't a lot of situations that it can't at least have a decent crack at. and at least bring you some sort of resolution. I'm really a fan of it, like it. And in terms of the game thing, I think that's really important for people to understand. If you have won the lottery and you decide this thing is going to be your next purchase, is understand this is approaching. And if this one isn't, then this one really is. This is end game raid level content. It's going to take that level of organization. It's going to take that level of just activity and everything else.
Oh, this is just in. They're all sold out. Don't worry about it. Right. Right. Sorry, pages. They're all looking at me going, what the fuck is he doing? Anyway, Javelin. I'll go straight to Eminem again. The real Slim Shady. What is why would we want a Javelin?
Yeah, this is the end game raid level content. You're not doing this with NPCs.
Yeah.
You're not doing this with NPCs, and people need to understand they are not going to be. They're going to be too large, too technical. These are org level flagships. I think at the moment the crew, max crew on the Matrix of Lies is 80 people. There's 80 players on this thing. It's just ridiculously big, expensive, and again, this is going to be for orgs that have multiple streams of income, because this thing isn't going to be making you money.
I find this more niche too. Like where you said the Idris is a bit of a generalist, this is a lot more tailored to. It's designed to kill. This is a destroyer, I believe, is the there it says right there, Mighty Destroyer.
Yeah.
But I believe it's a destroyer class ship. So this is not a Swiss Army knife. This is not even a scalpel. I don't know what this is, but it's a nuke. It's a nuke.
Yeah. It's exactly, this isn't a Swiss Army knife. This is a sledgehammer. It has one person's purpose and one person alone to break things. And also, I genuinely think people need to think with the hangar ships that can support this, rather than going, I can get some extra guns attached to an engine in that hangar. Support, repair, logistics, whatever it is, it's going to need to be something that can support this vessel.
And I'll get roasted in the comments if I don't ask. Algared, have you found any more of these that you lost?
No, I haven't found any more of these that I lost. But yeah, I did think originally the Matrix of Lies had the crew needing to be around 30 or 40.
It's 83 actually.
I know, 80 odd now.
Yeah.
And in the documents it talked about it having 80 life pods, and it was always, why has it got 80? There's only so many crew, and I think the idea was that an NPC one would have 2 shifts, the morning, the morning shoe and the late shift. The minimum crew on this in the Matrix of Lies is 12, and then the max is 80. And I think the minimum you'll need is those 12 people, and they will be running a whole crew of NPCs, I think, if you were doing that. But yeah, it's not a ship you're going to run solo. It is an org ship. It is a ship that was designed specifically for org raids.
And more news just in, these sold out too. Right.
They sold out in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Which is long, by the way. That is long for a sale. Anyway, the Nautilus. We did have a question about this earlier. What is the Nautilus and why would you want it? I will defer to Paul. He hasn't talked in a little while. Paul, why would someone want a Nautilus?
A Nautilus is so if you're thinking about the capital ships in terms of MMO classes, the Nautilus is a support class that specializes in DPS and stealth. Its main job is to support other smaller ships with mines, so it can prevent movement to outflank you, to deny areas. And I know a lot of people are like, mines in space doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like, these aren't mines; these are smart missiles that are just left in space. They have some ungodly range, like 80 kilometers or something like that. Well, they'll track you and then start going after you. Plus, there's also turrets you can deploy for them, so you can, literally deploy them right in the flanks, or like around ships or around stations or locations where you need to get protected. But it's also supposed to have some stealth ability. It's supposed to be very small. It's a submarine, so if you want a kind of submarine-esque experience, but you also want to have some more support, it's a pretty good ship for that role. But it is going to be very niche, just like the Idris or the Javelin or any other.
I find it is the most defensive ship in the game, because you can kind of drop stuff off like, for example, you could have this drop a whole bunch of mines. You could take the same crew back, swap over to a different ship, like say a Polaris or something like that, and then you've got offense and defense in the same spot. I think the strength of this is the passiveness and the speed that it picks up and drops off mines compared to other ships, and yet can kind of sit there like a spider on its web as well. But you've also got that option to swap over. So it's, I don't know, defensive flexibility. I'll probably refer to you, Badges, being the military guy, because you can probably speak to this more than any of us can. What is that? What is that real niche on this? And are we kind of in the same ballpark, or are we completely wrong? And do you have a different hot take on it? And you're muted.
Obviously, mine's at sea, so I've got people in the background doing stuff outside. So if the noise gets too much, let me know, and I'll mute myself again. The thing for this is, for me, is obviously we don't have the same 3D environment at sea that you do in Star Citizen. So the whole kind of smart missile in space, as Paul alluded to, remains to be, remains to see just how effective that is. For me, one of the things I really like about the Nautilus is just showing up with one, and then that information spreading through your opponent's intelligence network in their fleet, because then it's like that, aren't they deploying mines? And you don't even need to pop a single one out of the back of this for people to start going, shit, mines. Well, we don't want to do that because they'll have mined that area.
Yeah, and also sentry turrets as well. That's the other thing. Like, I think a lot of people forget that it also they're only size 1s or size 2 turret guns on it. I think it's size 1s from memory. I think my biggest problem with this, Algared, and I'll put this to you as well, and we've talked about this at length, is essentially those mines are like size 5 torpedoes, which is what the Harbinger and Gladiator take, and they really are. So this is kind of like the mines or missiles to the what the Hammerhead is. It's anti-fighter, and a lot of times when you and I look at ships, we try to see how well it takes themselves out, and I don't think this could take itself out, because, well, with the guns it could, right, obviously, but with the actual mine part of it, the mines are, I think that's why it's got size 7 guns, because it just, the mines are not enough. Like, it's just, I don't know. I also think it's a tip of the hat to bigger mines, like a bigger mine ship coming, like a capital mine.
It's one of the things we've talked about in terms of the things we've seen that a problem with it is the size of the mine. The mines seem too small. Now, whether it's down the track, it's going to have the ability to take larger mines as well, but less of them. Whether it's going to have the ability to, whether it's going to be a bigger mine layer out there. I think one of the other big things with this ship is the fact that it's also a mine sweeper. So it can go around an old minefield. It can salvage mines and repair them, and you could even sell them.
You could actually, that's a really good point. You could actually see this working with a reclaimer on the battlefield. It's like, shit, well, we want to get all this salvage, but like there's just mines bloody everywhere. So that's something I never even thought of until you kind of brought that up. Yeah.
And I expect that in that category of detecting mines, it's going to be like the penultimate. Like everyone else detects the mine by treading on it. This detects the mine by going, there's one there, there's one there, there's one there, there's one, so I think that's going to be the big thing that sets this thing apart from a lot of other ships as well.
And I think that the other thing Badger said there too, that psychological thing is, oh man, it's going to stuff with people heaps. Yeah, I think you're right, 100% there, Badger. Was you going to say something, sorry?
Yeah, just every ship's a minesweeper once.
All right. Today's CCU is a lot better than the one that was offered before. So it's for the Eclipse. The one you want to kind of look at is either the Retaliator Bomber or the Sentinel. And that means it'll cost you. So if I select one of these, it doesn't matter which one, but depending on which change you go for, you select one, and you can see there that it's going to cost $5. And so that essentially means that you'll be saving 20 for $5. I'm probably going to pick a couple of these up myself to chuck in my chains. Good value one to jump through as well. And then you can jump off the Eclipse onto the Mole after that. And the Mole's available all the time, so you don't have to grab that straight away. And you can get it for credit too. Right.
And then you just move up to where you want, wherever else you want to go.
Yeah. All right. So no new merch that I can tell in the Invictus store. I'm probably wrong. I'm sure someone. Well, there we go. We got some cups and vinyl stickers. There's some new ones in there. They're the only new ones I know. New skin for the Avenger. I think it's kind of a flip of the classic black and white. It's now black and white instead of white black, or whatever you want to call it. But that I don't know. That one doesn't really speak to me.
It's the evil twin.
Yeah, it's the execute to the badges. There we go. Right.
It's the yang to its yin.
Yeah. This is like the chocolate camo skin or the coffee camo skin. That's kind of more your league, Algared. You're a bit of a coffee nut, aren't you? So yeah, that's
I am a coffee nut, but
more your jam. And then these are just the Invictus skins that we thought we'd show you. So they're all blue and gold themed. There's
look at that. That's the skin you buy to make your
the Renegade.
Yeah,
Renegade.
So that's what I'm going back to. So just so people can see, so that's that one and that's that one. So you basically, I can kind of see what Paul says. I do think the Renegade's a bit better, but like for the price, this is like $5. That's like 20. I think it's ridiculous. And yeah, you do get guns with it, but like
it's not worth it.
They're not worth it. Yeah, they're not worth it.
As we said before, those. It's not as if it's changing hard points. It's just changing the weapons, and you can buy those weapons in games. So
yeah, and they're peanuts. So yeah. And anyway, Gladius. This is probably the one that needs the biggest update because there's no gold on it. It's just blue.
Yep.
It's not much different from. But there might be some gold there that I can't see, but I can't see any, and it's just too much black on it. Again, it shows the age of the Retaliator bomber. Vanguard kind of same in the ballpark, not enough gold. And then the last one. Is the Hercules, and I actually don't mind this one. And remember, if you even got an inkling for any of it, because they're all limited, pick them all up and melt them into buyback, and then you can buy them back at any time. So, you can just add one of everything to your cart, and 24 hours later, melt them all and turn them back into credit, and they're there to buy back at any time. So that's a really easy way to remove the limitedness of limited skins. All right, is there anything else there that you gents want to add? Because this has been a very long show for a one that we normally do. I've tried to let everyone say their piece. Normally, I chop it and try to be really neat and quick.
It's hard to do. This is one of the biggest days.
Yeah.
This and I think Anvil's going to be long too, just because it's a huge amount of stuff. So
yeah, but
Invictus launch week is military, and Anvil and Aegis, they're the two big military producers. So. Yeah. You expect those days to be the big days, so
yeah. Anything we would like to hear from people below in the comments, guys? Anything? What about you, Badges? Any replies on any of the ships that you talked about, like your psychological warfare, all that type of thing? When we should expect your rap album? Things like that. Anything you would like to hear? Okay, I'd like to hear about your rap album. Personally.
I'd like to mention that we are actually giving away a ship at the at when we reach what is it
15K. I did forget to do that at start, Paul. Sorry, apologies.
Sorry.
Yep.
15K. We're giving away a ship, trying to kind of boost up our subscribers a little bit more. So make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and make sure you hit the notification button, because when when we go live with these new videos, you want to know these things, especially if you want to know these kind of to understand what's available, and or your own thoughts and stuff like that.
I was actually
looking. I'd love to hear your own thoughts down below as well.
I was actually looking with Algared earlier today. Half of the people that watch our videos are not subscribed.
Yep. So we know you're out there.
Yeah.
We know you watch our videos.
Yeah.
Regular watchers. If you like us and you come back, hit that button.
Get your friends to subscribe too. Because if you like our stuff, if you generally don't like us, don't subscribe. That's fine. If you like us, then please consider subscribing. What we're going to do is if we get to 15K, we're going to give away a Sulian for Alien Week. So if we can get to there before Alien Week ends, we'll buy the Sulian and give that away. I think that's it. Is there anything else you want to add, Algared? I feel like I've forgotten something.
No, I don't think so.
Subscribe or I'll do the next stream in a towel.
Motivation, yeah. All right, with that, he's been Badges, he's been Astropub, he's been Algared, I've been Execute.
Execute.
We'll catch the next one.